Hello, vinyl community. Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records. And I thought I would share with you 6 records I picked up in the last few weeks, the latter half of May, I guess you'd say. And some of them I got from Steve Hoffman's forum, classified ads there, where you can find some really nice stuff at very reasonable prices. And some of them I got on Discogs. None of them I got at a brick and mortar this time. So I'll start off with Steve Earle's Jerusalem from the early 2000s. And this one is it was very timely at the time. In fact, it created a lot of controversy for Earle, because especially because of the song Johnny Walker's Blues, which gets into how they were recruiting people into the Islamic radical Islamism, and people took offense that he wrote a song where he takes on the role of a character. He's not talking about himself. He's talking about this person. And if you remember, John Walker was that American that had joined the Taliban, I believe. But it's also got one called Conspiracy Theory, which is very timely as well. And just a lot of good songs on here, produced by the Twang Trust, which is he and, is it Ray Kennedy maybe? But Jerusalem, Steve Earle. Glad to get that in my collection. I don't have much Steve Earle on vinyl, because save the Guitar Town record and the EP he did before that, just about everything came out during the CD era. So I was glad to get that. Also a reissue from Folkways, like this on Discogs. Bogg's legendary singer and banjo player. And this was recorded in 1963. And Mike Seeger recorded it. And it's that great Folkways. They stayed true when their recent reissues, it seems. Booklet came with it. I'm assuming the same booklet that was in it when it was originally issued, with some musical notation for some of the songs he does, and a little about Doc Boggs. The most interesting thing about Doc Boggs to me is that a little story is he grew up and lived in a county in Virginia. I don't remember which one, in the mountains of Virginia. And he was just over the mountainside from Ralph and Carter Stanley, but they never knew each other. There's a Smithsonian label. They never knew each other until, even though they were relatively close to one another, same county, I believe, and like one mountain over. But that speaks a little bit to the isolation in the Appalachian Mountains that was experienced by a lot of people, before roads improved, that sort of thing. But he met him at I think maybe at Newport Folk Festival, maybe, and discovered that they were actually, relatively speaking, neighbors. I have to get that back in later. Can't get that in. Okay, and also from that same seller on Discogs, I got this Charlie Patton record. Of course, one of the founders of the blues. This is called Electrically Recorded. Jesus is a Dying Bedmaker. Wow, that's a powerful words there. Jesus is a dying bedmaker. And this was recorded in 1929. There's a recording studio and pressing plant in Wisconsin, Grafton, Wisconsin, and that's where this was recorded. So he went all the way up to Wisconsin in 1929 to record this. And this is more of the religious side of his playing. Elder Green blues, Some of These Days I'll Be Gone, Jesus is a Dying Bed Maker, the title track, and there's different versions of some of these songs. If you've never listened to Charlie Patton, he's not as accessible listening-wise to a 21st century ears as, say, a Robert Johnson. It's more raw, more, the kind of codification of how songs are structured and things like that. He didn't play by the rules a lot, I guess you would say. So it's very interesting and it's good, but it's not immediately opening itself up to the modern listener. You need to know that going in, so you can go in with a open mind and absorb it all. Okay, and the next 3 albums were purchased because of other members of the VC. This is one I thought I had either in my collection or it was in my brother's collection. Talked to my brother the other day. No, I never had that album. Somebody had this album back in the 70s. I don't know who it was, but saw Andy, the 3 brothers from Georgia, and Andy's one of them, and he showed this, and I think all 3 brothers have this. The Willis, Allen, Ramsey on Shelter Records, Leon Russell's label, distributed by ABC Records, and it's the only album Willis, Allen, Ramsey ever did, and never made another one. It's kind of odd, but he said the people said that when they would ask him, like at a show he was doing or something, when are you going to do another album? And he would answer some way, some version of, well, what's wrong? You didn't like the one I did? Or something like that, like he's never had any intention of ever doing another one. But the songs that, he's a great Texas singer-songwriter. The songs that would stand out as far as being known to you most likely would be Ballad of Spider John, which Jimmy Buffett did, and Muskrat Love, which from America, and then later Captain and Tennille did. A lot of people talk down on Muskrat Love, or sometimes called Muskrat Candlelight, but I don't agree. I think that's a good song. I like the premise of it, looking at it through the eyes of the muskrat rather than human experience. The next one is one that Sherv showed when he did his blues tag. And when I saw it, I got all excited because I knew who this guy was, because I'm all into local music here in the North Carolina area, and I'd read a lot about the music of the Durham area. That's where Blind Boy Fuller lived for a long time. That's where Reverend Gary Davis, before he went up to New York, was living. There was a strong music scene in Durham. And Sherv had this Willie Trice album. And the only thing I'd ever seen was on CD compilations. You would see he 1 or 2 songs, in a compilation or something. But these were recorded around 1970. He died in 72. But a blues man from the Durham area, rural area outside of Durham, and Tricks Records is what this is on. And I found, after I saw Sherv show it, I did find it on Discogs, $25. I was more than happy to shell out $25 for this record. He had a brother, Richard, a younger brother, who he recorded more in the 1930s than Willie did. He was known as the Little Boy Fuller. After Blind Boy Fuller passed away, his style, Richard's style, not Willie's, Richard's style was much closer to Blind Boy Fuller's. And when Blind Boy Fuller died, they recorded Richard a few tracks up in New York or New Jersey as Little Boy Fuller, I believe it was. Okay. And finally, the last one I'll show is Robbie Folks, Gone Away Backward. Now, in John at Digital Gramophone's doing his top 200 albums, and he showed a clip from Robbie Folks on one of these, not this particular album. And I knew about Folks, but the only album I had by him was the duo he did with Jerry Lee Lewis's sister, Gail. Wanda Gale? Is it Wanda Gale Lewis? I think that's wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. Jerry Lee's sister, which is a really good album too. But when I responded to John from his video, he said, I would recommend starting with this album. There it is. And I still got it in the front. Gone the way back. We got this new on Discogs. Good price. I think I paid $15 for it or something like that. But this is a really good album. Mostly done in the style of pre-war country. You know, you can kind of divide pre-war and post-war country. The pre-war was more rural, more use of fiddles and acoustic instruments in general. And the post-war would be, they started using the Telecasters, electric guitars, playing in honky-tonk, the rise of honky-tonk and that sort of stuff. More of a urban sound, which sounds like contradiction terms, urban country. But really that's what it boiled down to. Everybody was moving to town, moving to the city. And so the music changed. When you're playing in a bar, you had to be heard. And so the electric guitars, honky-tonk sound, the cheating songs more and more, that sort of thing. But most of this I would categorize as a pre-war sound, and a couple of songs on here, post-war sound. The one that stood out to me, the post-war one that really stood out to me, is When You Get to the Bottom. That's it. Yeah, When You Get to the Bottom. But all these songs are really good artist, Robbie Folks. So I'll be digging deeper into his catalog as time goes by. So I appreciate John for recommending that. Okay, folks. Well, that's just a look at a few records that I picked up this month. So I'll remind you, be kind to your neighbors, folks, because we're all neighbors.